Hello, Space Coast. I'm Rob Landers, and today we are talking growth and development on the Space Coast. We've got a brand new growth and development editor who is joining us today, and his name is Dave Berman. Now, he is not new to Florida today. He's been covering county government here for quite a few years, and we have switched him back over to a little bit of a business beat. Dave, thanks for joining me today.
Good to be here. Thank you, Rob.
Okay, so I want to start off today with an update to a story that our colleague Rick Neal did back in November. That's actually moving ahead, and that's the development of the old International Palm site. Dave, talk to me about that one.
Right. The International Palms is a fairly large hotel in Cocoa Beach off State A1A, and it's actually got the most rooms of any single hotel in Brevard County. It's got 502 rooms, but it's kind of a little bit run down compared to some of the newer hotels. And a developer has come in and would like to redevelop that site into a new hotel with the Westin brand. And that hotel would be also 502 rooms, but would be totally different and a real total makeover of this site. And they say it would be almost a 5-star hotel. It'd be about between a 4-star and a 5-star hotel, which would be probably the most luxurious hotel in the county. And it's also planned to have the largest conference space of all the hotels within the county, so that mid-sized conventions could come to this area.
All right, now they're talking about completely raising what is there now and completely building new structures, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, so where is this project in? I already know the answer to this, but where is this project in the in the process?
Right, it's gone to the planning board in the city of Cocoa Beach, and they've given their initial support to the project. And within the next week, it will be going to the city commission in Cocoa Beach for some additional approvals for some of the proposals for zoning and for the project site development. So it's moving fairly quickly along now, but it still will be a while before the construction will actually take place.
Okay, all right. Okay, so moving on from a short-term rental to a little bit of a longer-term rental. Let's talk. I know we had talked about something else right here, but let's talk for a second about apartments in Brevard County. And I know that you have been looking at the shortage of luxury apartments in Brevard County, and it feels like over the past couple of weeks we've had at least 3 projects announced for higher end apartments coming in. So what's going on, Dave?
Right. There's right now there's kind of a somewhat of a shortage of luxury apartments in the county. There's a lot of apartment space available, but some of the employees coming into Brevard County from other parts of the country, like working, for example, at the Space Center or working at a high-tech company like Harris or Northrop, may not be looking to buy a house immediately and might want to rent a fairly high-level apartment. And you're right, there's 3 major projects that are being in the pipeline right now. One's in Cocoa, one's in Melbourne, and one's in Viera. So all 3 of them are in various stages of development, but all of these would be kind of luxury level apartments that are kind of higher end in style and also a little bit higher end in price, but definitely affordable for somebody that's working at Space Center or somebody working at a large high-tech company in town.
All right, so let's talk about those for a second. So you mentioned the apartments that are being proposed for downtown Melbourne. Now, this is in addition to the Highline apartment complex that recently opened on the site of what was the old Mel High building. This is down the street. This is at Orange Court. Let me tell you something, Dave. Since I've been going to downtown Melbourne on the regular since 2005, I've always looked at this site as like, wow, that could be really, really high potential, because you have this amazing view of the water right there from Orange Court. What's happening there? What's the plan?
Right. The plan is to build a higher level apartment, and that would be you're right. Looking over the water, and also would have a lot of amenities that maybe are not typical for Brevard County, like there might be like rooftop viewing areas and things like that, and also the apartment space also would be pretty luxurious. So, and also the site in Melbourne is right near the areas where there's stores and restaurants and bars. So it's walking distance to a lot of things. So that's pretty attractive for people who maybe just want to leave their apartment and go get a drink or go out to dinner or just walk downtown in Melbourne area.
Right. Work, live, play, I think, is what the downtown the Downtown Main Street Association used to say all the time about downtown Melbourne. Places where people can really enjoy where they live in the heart of everything. That site also, if I'm not mistaken, comes with a pretty significant parking garage, which if you've been in downtown Melbourne, the parking garage is on the other side of New Haven. Parking on the main strip is kind of at a premium. So that seems like a nice kind of piece too, if it's open to the public as well as the apartment complex. But
right, and definitely there's somewhat of a shortage of parking downtown on the street parking, so that'll be helpful at least for the residents. Even if the site isn't open for the general public, the residents will have a place to park and will not take up spaces that could be used for shoppers visiting downtown.
Correct. All right, so let's move a little bit further north back into Viera. Now, you had mentioned this one, this other project, which is being built right around what is going to be or is the Viera Town Center.
Right. There's some development at the Viera Town Center now. There is a hotel project, and there's also a park and some other smaller businesses. And this would be a site where there will be office buildings, and there will also be apartments in that area. So again, this is an area where there's people who maybe are working in an office building in Viera might want to live close to their offices, and this would be a good location for them to consider. And Viera is definitely, booming. It's well developed, but there's still so much undeveloped area in Viera that it will, this project will help even attract more growth into that region.
Well, it sounds to me, Dave, like the folks at the Viera company are really kind of pushing forward with creating that downtown kind of feel with offices and apartments right there with the health department and the school board and the county offices, as well as the avenue. Like, it's all that this project is just really sandwiched right in between all of those pieces, right? Almost like
that is
the donut.
Yeah. And also in the longer term, I believe the Viera company would like to get more grocery stores in that area. There is a large Publix already in Viera, but they're looking to even have more grocery opportunities there in these, they're calling them smaller villages actually within Viera. And they'd like to have more groceries and other small retailers beyond what's in the Avenue Viera and the strip centers that are fronting the avenue.
Right. Well, I mean, strip centers, which is a typical Florida thing, but yes, they want it more planned out. And it feels to me like, and this is what again is happening in downtown Melbourne. We're really pushing for walkable community feel in downtown Melbourne, in Viera, so that people can just, they'll in like downtown Melbourne, they'd be able to park their car, but they don't necessarily have to take it out. You can walk to your restaurants, you can walk to your stores, instead of always having to get in the car, drive to Publix, drive to Walmart, drive to wherever, being able to walk it.
Right. That's one thing that's very attractive about downtown Melbourne is that, there's a lot of stores and restaurants, but they're all within 6 blocks of one another from one end of downtown to the other. So, no matter where you park in downtown, you can walk to wherever you want to go, and you can stop at several different places along your travels there and spend the whole day or evening there.
Okay, so Dave, I want to talk really quick, and this is the third one, the third luxury apartment that we've kind of reported on over the past couple of weeks, which is in all places in North Cocoa, right there in between 524 and 528, nowhere near a walkable downtown area like Cocoa Village. Let's talk about this planned development.
Yeah, it's a again another luxury apartment project, and you're right. It's not near much walking retail that you can walk to or other things like that. Now this one is more geared, I think, towards workers from the space industry that maybe live not far from the space center and don't want to drive 45 minutes to get to Viera or Melbourne and want a quicker commute home. So this is another project where it's a former grocery store that was been shut down for a number of years. I believe it used to be a Winn-Dixie site, and the site has been shut down for more than a decade and been vacant. And so developers have come in and have gotten approval from the Cocoa City Council to work on developing the site and have really ambitious plans. It's a 4-story, 2-building project. And they're going to have fitness areas, and they're going to have a launch viewing area on the roof of the one of the buildings. And they this will be probably one of the biggest housing developments in recent times in the city of Cocoa.
Huh. Well, I'm going to show my age as a Brevard resident. I remember when that Winn-Dixie opened back in the 90s. I remember shopping there once or twice, also. So, okay, so let's head back over to Cocoa Beach and a fun little story that we had last week. Backstreet's back. All right.
That's right.
Howie Duro of the Backstreet Boys and his brother John are building a condo complex in Cocoa Beach. Okay, let's talk about the surf.
Yeah. So the surf. He and his brother have done some other residential developments in Brevard County and elsewhere. So this project is a $35 million project, and it's very high-end condos ranging from $950,000 to $5.5 million. And so they did a soft groundbreaking for the site. They haven't really started construction yet, but they did have an event in Cocoa Beach, and city officials were there, and everybody's pretty excited about this project. And it's gotten a lot of buzz because of who's involved in it, as you can imagine.
Well, of course, and I can tell you, Dave, having met Howie personally, he is a super nice guy. He's a nice guy. The Penthouse, if I'm not mistaken, 4,000 square feet, right there on the top of that building, $2.5 million. That's some serious high end right there.
Oh yeah. That is the upper end of the project. It's actually, you are right. It's 2.5 million. I think I may have misstated the price before, but definitely a high range project. And we'll have to see who is able to afford that rental.
Right. Okay. So, Dave, one of the stories that we had last week, speaking of high-end property selling, was the iconic Space Coast White House, or Hacienda Del Sol. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, this is a project that it's on Merritt Island. It's an estate that's been owned since 1988 by the Hermanson family, who you might recognize as being involved in the hotel business. And also the parents who owned the project, the property had founded a cruise line that really started the Port Canaveral cruise business, in effect. They were partners with Disney on bringing cruise ships to Port Canaveral. So this estate called Hacienda Del Sol just sold for $4.5 million. And the realtor believes it's the second largest residential real estate sale in Brevard County history. And the buyer was a businessman from Hong Kong who had, we don't believe had any prior connection to this area, but really liked the property. And the realtor said he bought it sight unseen. He just saw it online and through talking with the realtor and talking to other people. So he never actually physically visited the site before he signed the deal.
Wow. I wish I had $4.5 million to say, yeah, okay, I don't need to see it here. Just take my money. You know, I know the Hermanson name not just because of Premier Cruise Lines, which is the cruise company they founded, but because they are major philanthropic contributors to the county.
That's right.
Premier Cruise Lines, man, that was my first cruise. I fell in love with cruising on their boats, and after Disney started the Disney Cruise Line and kind of pulled its characters off their boats, they partnered with Warner Brothers, so you got to see the old Looney Tunes characters on board. It was a fun time, like, you know, and it was really easy. They ran really great deals where Brevard County residents like you and I could just, you know, last minute jump on board for like $90 for the weekend, go to the Bahamas. That was a great deal. I miss them.
Oh yeah, it's definitely and it like we discussed, really started the cruise business at Port Canaveral, which is now the world's second busiest cruise port, and it started from the Hermanson family and his partners starting this cruise business there.
Right.
And Tom Hermanson, who's his son, is also involved currently in 4 hotel projects, owner or co-owner of 4 hotels in Cocoa Beach areas. So they're staying involved in the tourism business locally.
Well, you know, that's a great segue, Dave. Let's talk about that real quick. We've got a couple other things that were going to be before this, but let's talk about local tourism. You know, you said that Port Canaveral was the second largest cruise port. I'm assuming that's behind
Miami.
But of course, no one's a great cruise port right now because we're not cruising because of the coronavirus pandemic. So let's talk about Space Coast tourism and what that pandemic is doing to hotels and restaurants in Brevard County.
Right. Like you said, with the cruise business halted, it's been halted since last March and probably won't start up again until at least July and possibly even later. So that's been taking a hit on local hotels, especially in the Cape Canaveral area where the hotels kind of depend a lot on cruises because they're not on the beach side. But in effect, though, the spring break tourism has come back a little bit in Brevard County, where there is showing signs of an increase in local visitors to the area. And these are people, some coming in from other parts of Florida, but hotel owners that we talk to say that they're even getting business from people coming from the Northeast trying to get into the warm sun for spring break. So the cruise business is still halted, but the rest of the tourism industry is starting to make a little bit of a comeback. And as well as restaurants that are starting to gain back customers again, both local customers and also customers that are visiting the Space Coast.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the cruise industry may be halted, but my Carnival stock is doing really well. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're not at a typical spring break, but I can tell you that that the folks in Cocoa Beach and like our colleague John McCarthy will tell you that the electric scooters are just all over the streets in Cocoa Beach on the weekends now. People coming over, but we're still not at those same pre-pandemic levels of spring break that we would have been, correct?
No, we're not there yet. During spring break period, typically the hotels in Cocoa Beach would be even during the weekdays at 100% occupancy. And the hotel owners are saying they're getting close to 100% on weekends based on their advanced bookings. But during the week, they're probably in the 60 to 70, 75% range, which is still better than they were 3-4 months ago when they were happy to get to 40% occupancy, but still not at the level that they would have had been pre-pandemic. And also the room rates are not at the level that they would have been at that time either. So there are fewer rooms rented, and they're being rented for less per night than they had been historically.
Right. So not only not filling the rooms, but not making nearly as much as they would normally be making in their peak season.
That's right. And March is typically the biggest month of the year for tourism in Brevard County. If you remember last year, the pandemic kind of started in March. So the first half of March was still doing pretty well. And then tourism got pretty much shut down in the second half of March when also when cruises were halted. And so it was like two different worlds, the first half of March last year and the second half. So, and since then, there's been a slow recovery in tourism and in restaurants and retailing.
I have a sneaking suspicion, though, Dave, as we get further into 2021 and the vaccine becomes more prevalent or more people have been vaccinated, I have a feeling that those people who have been kind of scared to go anywhere, scared to leave their houses, are going to be like, okay, time to go, and pack their bags and find the best deal they can for a week away from everything, just so they can kind of get a sense of normal again and finally get a vacation. Now, whether that's Cocoa Beach or that's St. Pete Beach or that's Orlando or that's Hawaii or where you can get a round trip ticket right now to Hawaii for like $400. I mean, whether that's here or there, I have a feeling that as we progress this year and more people get vaccinated, we're going to start seeing tourism numbers across the country start going back up.
Right, I think so. And one thing that's positive for Brevard County is being a beach community and a lot of ecotourism opportunities. A lot of people still want to be a little bit isolated, even though they want to go on vacation. So there's a lot of space on the beaches, and you could go on a nature tour on a boat and not be near a lot of people. So there's a feeling that Brevard County might be in a well position to gain some more tourism as people want to start traveling again.
Right. Okay. So speaking of no pun intended or every pun intended, bang for your buck, let's go up to Titusville and talk about a new company that's looking to move into the city. Possibly, Titusville is a finalist for a gun manufacturer.
That's right. It's a company called Darkstorm Industries, and they're currently based in Long Island, New York, and they are looking to move a lot of their operations into Florida, and they're looking between Titusville and one other community in Florida, which they haven't identified publicly, but they are trying to seek a series of financial incentives to see which of those two locations might be the best for them. So they've gone to the North Brevard Economic Development Zone Board and have gotten some incentives from them, and also are likely going to Titusville City Council and to the Brevard County Commission to seek tax breaks on their property taxes. So it might be that they might move as many as 50 jobs to Titusville. And this would be a project where they would join a number of other gun companies that are in Brevard County already, like Diamondback and Caltech and Knights Armament, all in the Cocoa and Titusville areas. So there's kind of a niche for gun companies coming to Brevard County, which help diversify the local economy.
That's good. I mean, we've talked many times over the past couple of decades about the need to diversify, not necessarily rely so much on space, not necessarily rely so much on defense contractors. We learned during the Titusville learned during the shutdowns of the space shuttle, particularly after Challenger and then after Columbia, that need to diversify your economy and not just rely solely on the Space Center. Still a significant driver for North Brevard, but it's good that we're branching out a little bit.
Right.
Speaking of, there is another high-profile company that is looking at coming into the Space Coast. Amazon is also looking to open up a bit of a shop here. Let's talk about that for a second.
Right. Amazon's looking for, actually, they're looking at two sites, apparently. One is in Cocoa and one's in Melbourne, and both of those would be kind of the, in fact, distribution centers where the final leg of the journey of a package, they would come to this distribution center and then be distributed to the buyer from these centers. So both of them would be pretty large operations and would be employing a number of people doing this work. So they've been doing this all around the state. They've opened up a number of these type of facilities, and it would help shoppers get same-day delivery of merchandise, where they would order something in the morning and get it by the end of the day. And these would be for common fast-moving items that might be in stock at these locations.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, because we all want stuff faster from Amazon.
That's right.
Cornering the market on speed of delivery. So, okay, Dave, we are out of time, unfortunately. In order to turn this around for our friends at WEFS, that's it for our time. Dave, thanks so much for talking to me today about all of the growth and development stories that we've had. Let's plan on doing this again, maybe 2-3 weeks. As we're going through and learning more about businesses that either are coming to Brevard and building brand new buildings or are planning on making over existing sites. So, you down?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you.
Cool. Congratulations on the new gig. I know that. I know the county commission was sad to see you go, but I am very happy to see you on this beat, and look forward to reading more of your stories in the weeks ahead.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dave, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.